I'm a political science professor, semi-retired at Texas Tech, and Zach, you probably know me. And there are a number of politicians, policymakers in the room, so I think it's an honorable profession. And while I might have some differences with some of them on the council, I think it's an honorable profession, and I'm happy to see all of you gentlemen running and willing to listen to the citizen. My question is, you all know that tuition has gone up a great deal since you were students. And tuition deregulation, in my opinion, has really affected the quantity, much less the quality of students going to Texas Tech and other universities, community colleges, and so forth, much higher than the minimum wage, much higher than inflation. So what would you gentlemen do to make access to university education and the state's role in funding higher education so that more people can go to school, get the training for life in the 21st century?
We sure got sold a bill of goods on tuition dereg, didn't we? If you look at what's happened with tuition dereg, it's gone sky high. There's no way we're going to put that horse all the way back in the barn, but we at least need to put a halter on it and do that in a hurry. One of the things that I love about Texas Tech, and I know so many of you love about Texas Tech, is it is traditionally and still a home for first-generation college students. And those folks are vital to the socioeconomic level of our part of the state continuing to rise. I think that we have to do something about tuition dereg. We need to look at some sort of guideline, some sort of structure where it's not just unbridled like it is now. I think that was something that we went from $2 a semester hour or something, baby steps all these years, to just jerking it clean off. And we need to get something that's more in the middle so that students have that opportunity to get that higher education. And I think incentive programs like the Beyond Time deal, where you get incentives to get out in 4 years, are also really important. And we need to look at carrots as well as sticks.
I think that dereg had obviously an unintended consequence, and it's out of control. I agree with Zach. We've got to have a strong education system and education program. I tell you, the Texas Tomorrow Fund, it went away, it came back. It's a different form now, but we've got to encourage and educate people that there is a way to get into education systems going forward. Parents need to be responsible. It gets back to parents need to take control of the fact that their kids need to be educated. So we need to educate them that there are processes and programs available today that will cut those costs back. We were beneficiaries of it. We did it for our 2 kids. Our kids went through tech, or will have gone through tech at $13,000 and $11,000 of tuition because we started when they were kiddos. That's not available to everybody, but we made a priority in our life to say college was important enough that when they were 1 year old, we're going to do this. And so we sacrificed. So it gets back to some of that process, but we do have to put a bridle on it. You know, I think state education is a reflection of state government. You know, are we getting what we expect? Do we have any control over the cost? Do we have any way of monitoring the outcomes? And I think all of those issues need to be addressed, and addressed honestly, because the cost of education can't outpace inflation by 3 times every year and expect the common guy to be able to be a beneficiary of it. So it gets back to we don't have unlimited amount of funds, and we need to use what we do well, and education is a huge part of that in the state budget, and we've just got to make education be as efficient and effective as possible. And it's going to be, you know, regions are going to have to get serious about doing that.
Well, we made a mistake in deregulating. Of course, Texas Tech was one that came and told all of us that, oh, this is the deal that UT and A&M want. We really don't care about it. It doesn't matter. It won't have any impact on us. So it passed, and then guess who raised tuition first? Before A&M and before UT. It was Texas Tech. Guess why they raised it? They said they wanted more money to pay faculty more money because they didn't have enough money to hire qualified faculty to compete with those rich schools. So you've got an endless battle there. I don't think there's any way that we can go back and start micromanaging and tell each university how to run their business. I think that's the responsibility of a board of regents to run the institution, and that's a primary responsibility of the governor when he appoints regents, appoint people who have some responsible attitude toward government and toward taxes and expenses, and also people that they think will do what's right for education in order to keep our kids, give them an opportunity to compete with kids that go to other schools. So I don't think we can answer that question. I think tuition has been placed in the hands of the boards of regents, and I doubt very seriously that we have enough strength to revise it and start running each institution.
I want to make a quick announcement. We have a surprise guest with us tonight. We're not going to shut y'all off yet, but Deborah Medina's in the house. Just let y'all stick around for a while. We're going to give her an opportunity to speak at the end.
Yeah, I have a question. Ever saw, the question of state income tax floats his head above. I want to know what y'all think about state income tax.
That's all three get that? No.
No.
All three of us agree on one subject, no state income tax. Period.
And you'll actually get a 2-letter answer.
Next question. Great questions tonight. Yes, Steve.
Terrorism is a real issue. It came to Fort Hood. I would like to hear your views on how you would protect Texas with proper legislation to get away from political correctness and give us the protection we need. I'd like to know how you stand on the death penalty and what your views are on our current situation in protecting the public.
I'm pro capital punishment. I think that's, I use as a guide, and I don't want to have to do biblical scripture over here, but I think that supports it, that there are laws that need to be applied, but I am pro capital punishment. As far as terrorism goes, that's a federal, countrywide issue that they have seemed to turn their back on and say it's not that important of an issue. I'm not familiar enough in the state processes as to what funding mechanisms are in place. We've got to start with border security. We need to take political correctness out and put common sense in its place. We've just absolutely turned our backs on what makes sense. So we need to start doing common sense things. To have a guy at Fort Hood that was communicating with a jihad or an Amin, known and have the roots that he has, and to turn him loose in a military place is unexcusable. And those people that knew it need to be brought to bear. And then we need to put things in place that people understand there's consequences for not doing your job. And so I think it's time that we get serious about it. And if the feds are not going to support an initiative to do that, then Texas needs to take the appropriate steps to put it in. I can't tell you with the interactions of federal or non-federal or what laws that interplay into that process, but whatever Texas needs to do to protect Texas to start today, we need to start doing that. So I'd tell you I'd be open for it, I'd fight for it, that's my position on it. I have no tolerance for that, none whatsoever.
Keith, you bring me a plan that's workable, I'll support it. I don't think we can pass it at the state level. I think that terrorism is a problem of our society. And if we could pass one bill to make parents be responsible, we would probably eliminate almost all of our problems. And certainly we would eliminate people having the crazy idea that cancer is just go kill a lot of people just because they've got the capability of killing people. I don't know what that answer is. I wish I had it, but I would support any plan that looks workable.